What are the 6 principles of persuasion, and how can we use them to make our ad text and landing pages more effective? The answers are coming up. Hi, I'm Phil Taylor, PPC strategist. Welcome to another video. Now, success with ad text is all about testing different messages and seeing what works, and there's no substitute for doing that. You can go deep into a rabbit hole with a theory about what should work and why, and all too often that just gets completely crushed by what happens in practice, and it's what happens in practice with your ads that matters to us. But the theory is valuable to us as well, because it helps if we can direct our tests in a specific direction and know what it is that we're testing based on a hypothesis. And we'll make better hypotheses if we understand something about the theory of what works to persuade people and why. So with all this in mind, I recently read Robert Cialdini's highly rated book called Influence, all about techniques of persuasion and what causes people to comply with the wishes of others. And as I read it, I kept seeing ways in which the ideas in the book play into PPC ad text and landing pages. So that's what I'm going to share with you in this video. So we'll look at the 6 principles as explained in the book, which I highly recommend, by the way, but watch on for an ultra condensed version of those principles as seen through the lens of a PPC marketer. So these are the 6 principles, and we're going to take a look at each one in turn. Number 1, reciprocity. This taps into the drive to return a favour. So simply, we're much more likely to do something for someone who has done something for us. When you give something, it creates a feeling of indebtedness that's hard to shake, even if the recipient didn't ask for the favour in the first place. There's a great experiment to illustrate this that's described in the book, where an actor gives a bottle of Coke to the subject as an apparent favour, and then later asks the subject if they would buy some raffle tickets from them. And those who were given the Coke bought twice as many tickets as those who weren't. So what does this mean for us as marketers? Freebies and giveaways. So if we can present some kind of gift up front, or frame what we're offering as some kind of free gift or favour, then it will tap into that indebtedness response. And of course, that makes it more likely that the user will respond favourably to anything that we ask or offer in future. Free samples could be seen in this light as kinds of gifts. Just consider the slight discomfort that you feel when you take a free sample at a supermarket and then walk away without buying anything. The second one is commitment and consistency. The idea that people will go to great lengths to act in a way that's consistent with decisions they've already made. Once you sign off on something, then you automatically experience a strong drive to keep going down that same path. And of course, if you can get someone to feel a strong drive in the direction that leads to a sale or conversion, then that's good news for us. And this principle is at work when we're led along a path of agreeing that we are a certain type of person or in a certain type of situation, followed by the punchline, then you need to buy this or that product or service. And a related idea to this is the power of commitment. Once you have agreed to something, even if it's a trivial or obvious idea, like for example, I like to live in a clean neighbourhood, then you're much more likely to comply with some related action, like for example, going out and picking up litter on the streets. And this is shown to be particularly powerful when the subject has committed something to paper. So once you've made some form of written declaration, then you're much more likely to live up to it, including making a purchase to do so. For us marketers, this comes into play when we try to drive a small, maybe trivial initial action, and that increases the likelihood of the user taking a larger action or making a purchase in the future, which is called the foot in the door technique. And it's one of the things at work when we use lead magnets and when we use tripwires, and anything that just invites an initial low commitment, low level yes, making the prospect of larger purchases later more likely. 3, social proof. This is an idea that's very well known to marketers, the tendency to see an action as appropriate when you see other people taking it. As Cialdini points out in the book, canned laughter is a prime example of this. It's annoying as hell, but it's there to provide social proof of how funny something is. And for us marketers, anything like star ratings, testimonials, awards, recommendations, also the number of likes that a page or something has, and the number of members or users who are already on board are all examples of this. And you'll see most of these things emblazoned across both ad text and landing pages. Social proof is also shown to be much more effective when those seen taking an action or responding to something in a certain way are seen as being similar to yourself. This was illustrated in the book by a very clever study, which you can read about through the link I'll post in the video description. It was about under what conditions people will return a wallet that they find lying on the street, and it's pretty interesting to read. And that idea of following people who are similar to us takes us to the fourth principle, liking. We're more likely to do something for or buy something from someone that we like rather than someone that we don't, so no surprise there. One way we see this is where the seller associates a purchase with taking an action for a friend. An example of this given in the book is the Tupperware party. I haven't been to many of them myself, but apparently the hostess or host gets a cut of all sales that the rep makes at the party. So the participants are, in a sense, making the purchase for a friend, and sales benefit accordingly. One that I've noticed recently is a change in the wording on the Facebook posts for this petition site, where it says help and then the name of your friend by signing this petition. I've seen a few of these, and it took me a while to figure out that these weren't petitions actually started by the friend being mentioned, because it strongly associates the act that it's asking you to take with doing it for your friend. There are lots of attributes and techniques that will affect this liking factor. One important one is that we are absolute suckers for praise, even if it's quite obviously artificial praise. Then we have a very automatic positive reaction to compliments. And familiarity also affects liking. So the more that you've seen a face, even if you don't remember having seen it, the more you like it, unless you're seeing it in a negative context. So practical applications for all this in ad text. If you happen to have celebrity endorsements or anything of that kind, then mention them for the likability association. Look for ways to compliment the user. You might have seen this with text on landing pages like, if you're here, then you've already shown that you're smarter or more motivated than 70% of people in your industry, or something like that. And you can see the compliment is leading to positive return feelings at work there. And as for familiarity, if you're seeing the same faces again and again with retargeted ads, this is what they're up to. So being in people's faces and staying in people's faces has that familiarity leading to liking effect. The fifth principle is authority. The power of authority to elicit compliance is dramatically demonstrated in the Milgram experiment. I won't go through it here, but if you're not familiar with it, then look it up. It's fascinating, and it's quite an alarming illustration of just how compliant people are in the face of authority. And the conclusion is that people find it very hard not to comply with authority figures. So what does this mean for marketers? Authority comes, among other things, from expertise. So assuming the role of an expert or getting the endorsement of an expert will be effective. And if you want to see people putting this principle into practice and positioning themselves as experts, then just spend a couple of minutes looking around LinkedIn. And of course, if an expert prescribes something as being good for you, then you're much more likely to buy it. So in ad text or landing page text, having a phrase like 10 years experience suggests some high level of expertise, or authority by association if you have recommended by and then some authoritative figure or publication. And if it's an individual selling their services, then an image of that person speaking on a stage would be quite a common feature of a landing page. You've already seen that quite a few times. And all of these would be designed to quickly establish their credentials as an authority, and their techniques that you can use too. Finally, number 6, scarcity. Just as we associate higher prices with higher quality, we have a similar automatic association with availability. Rare equals valuable. And of course, you'll see the adjective rare often used specifically to imply desirability. It's very easy to see examples of this in marketing and particularly in ad text. So limited number, limited time offer. And if something is described as being exclusive or special edition, then this all implies scarcity, and it works very well to increase how desirable something is. I'm sure you've seen this all over the place. This is one particular instance that I've seen a lot recently. Look at this red text. In high demand, only 2 left on our site, exclamation mark. And with the colour of the text as well, it's really designed to ring alarm bells. There's not much available of this, so grab it while you can. And while we're looking at this listing, see here for social proof, social proof, social proof, and also this risk-free invitation to just go ahead, you can cancel later. That's going to take advantage of the commitment principle, because taking this low risk first step will make it more likely that we'll actually place a higher value on continuing down that funnel at a later stage. So those are the 6 principles of persuasion in Cialdini's excellent book, and some of the ways that we can use them to improve our ads and our landing pages. If you want to see more PPC tips and news from me, then please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I also have a free Facebook group, by the way, called the PPC Lounge, so I hope to see you there. But for now, this is Phil Taylor, PPC Strategist. Until next time.